On April 15th, 2013, 2 pressure cooker bombs exploded at the 117th running of the Boston Marathon. Those bombs exploded 12 seconds apart and 210 yards apart near the finish line on Boylston Street. 3 people were killed and more than 260 were injured that morning. Now let's contrast that with the 118th running of the Boston Marathon that took place just a few weeks ago on April 21st of 2014. 39,000 entrants went to the starting line that day. They were hoping to finish the 26.1 miles from Hopkinton, Massachusetts to downtown Boston. 39,000 entrants. Think of that number. That's 9,000 entrants more than in 2013. There were also over 1 million spectators lining the streets, twice as many spectators as in the 2013 race. Why? Why did so many people attend the Boston Marathon in 2014? Didn't they know the inherent danger that they were facing? Yes, they did. Were they fearful of a subsequent attack? Yes. Many of them were. So why? Why would so many people attend? As I asked myself that question watching the news of the coverage, 2 words came to mind: inspiration and courage. And those are 2 of the same words that actually came to mind when I was asked to speak at LeaderCast this year. So I really wasn't surprised when Juliana talked this morning about inspiration and when Andy Stanley talked about courage. So those words came to mind to them as well as to me. So how can we take those ideas and really impact the way that we lead? April 21st was such a special day for so many people in Boston because it was a first step at moving on with their lives. Today can be a monumental day for you here in Tyler, Texas. Today's LeaderCast theme, as you know by now, is Beyond You. But what are you really going to need to be able to look beyond yourself and leverage your influence for the sake of others? What are you going to need to implement those ideas? We heard about some ways this morning, but I want to give you some real specifics that you can do while you're here today to make the most of your time. First, let's look at inspiration. This is a great photo that came out on the first anniversary of the marathon bombings. And in this photo, we have runners, we have victims families, we have first responders, there are doctors, there are nurses, there are many different types of people who were impacted by the bombings that day. And the reason why these people were brought together to memorialize that 1-year anniversary is because they have found inspiration out of the ashes. Each of them has a story. And I encourage you when you leave here today to go onto the Boston Globe website, find this photo. It's actually an interactive photo. So you're going to be able to hover your mouse over each person. You're going to be able to get a little snippet about that person's story. And I believe that you will find inspiration in their stories. You also have a story. And your story is not over yet. Every day you make choices that will paint the story of your life. And you can make those choices based on inspiration, or you can make those choices void of inspiration. And I want to give you one tip that you can utilize right now, today, that's going to help you make choices based on inspiration. First of all, ask yourself each day a question that goes like this. Today is, and fill in the blank of the day. Whatever the date is. I will only have today once. What will I do today in order to lead beyond myself? Juliana talked this morning about being inspired, and with the lineup of speakers today, I have no doubt that you will be inspired, but that is not enough. You have to find inspiration in the ideas that are shared today. And this question is going to help you do this. So I want you to find a spot in your notes, a spot that you are very likely to reference when you leave here today. And I want you to write down the specific statement in question. Today is May 9th, 2014. I will only get this day once. What will I do today to lead beyond myself? Start today asking yourself that question. I'm one that I have to schedule things on my calendar, or I sometimes can forget to do them. So a very specific idea I have for you is to actually schedule like 1 minute on your calendar each morning to write down the answer to this question. And then just pick one thing. It can be something small. Maybe there's a letter of appreciation that you need to write to someone in your organization. Maybe there's a difficult conversation that you've been needing to have and you've been procrastinating doing so. Maybe there's an attaboy that needs to happen that you've just been putting off. Find that one thing that you can do each day to lead beyond yourself, and I think that you'll see great results in doing so. Now let's look at the second point that you're going to need, or attribute that you're going to need in order to implement today's ideas, and that is courage. I think of those tens of thousands of people who went to the starting line that day. That took courage. There was one specific runner, and I just loved hearing his story. He's a 50-year-old attorney from Lynbrook, New York. His name is Bob Spina Jr., and he was very honest before the race. He said, I'm very physically able. He said, I've run 40 to 50 miles a week, and I feel like I'm at the top of my game physically, but I'm not sure I'm emotionally and mentally ready to do what I've set forth today. Let's look at his words exactly, because they're so powerful. He says, I am emotionally fatigued by all of the new security measures, and I'm not convinced I want to put myself through it or my family through it. I can't shake my reservations. He did have the courage to shake his reservations, though, and he ran as bib number 11188 at the Boston Marathon this year. You see, fear is the main barrier between you doing tomorrow something different than you're doing today. That's a huge barrier. Courage is related to a French word. I don't speak French, so hopefully I'm close to the pronunciation, that says cœur, which means heart. And the reason why I like that connection is because if you are going to have the courage to actually do something about the lessons that you take with you today, you're going to have to somehow connect them with your heart. And I want to give you a really simple way that you can do that. I see a lot of people taking notes as people are talking, as the speakers are talking, which is great. You're probably writing down ideas that you are specifically connecting to. Maybe your heart is drawn to those. I want you to take one extra step. When you write down that great idea, I want you to answer this question: why should I take that action? And I want you to write down the answer to that as well. I realize that's going to take you an additional couple of seconds, and you may miss a sentence or two that the speaker is saying. It's going to be worth it, though, because if you write down the why you should take that action, you are going to be much more likely to then actually do something about it. At the end of today, I think you're probably going to have a big list of great ideas and why you should take action. And you know what's going to happen? You're probably going to be a little bit overwhelmed. And so oftentimes what happens at an event like this is you walk away with this huge list of great ideas and maybe even why you should take action if someone told you that before, but you're so overwhelmed when you get back to work on Monday you don't do anything. And so at the end of the day, I would love it if you could, we end at 3:30, if you could take just a minute before you leave to look over that list and just pick two. Pick two things that you're going to do on Monday, not Tuesday, not Wednesday, you're going to do them Monday. And then take action immediately. And when you take that action, it's kind of like that first step. When you're standing right on the edge of doing something brand new, that fear that you feel means two things. First of all, it means that you too are human. So welcome to the club. It also means that you are on the verge of growth, and only you can take that next step into trying that thing that's new that you're fearful about. Remember, courage isn't about fearlessness. It's about taking action despite of it. So let's review a couple of things that we talked about today. First of all, start your day with today is the date. What will I do to lead beyond myself today? And next, don't just write down the great ideas. Write down why you should take action. At the end of the day, pick two of them. Don't let time go by. Start them Monday, because if not, fear will creep in. Have the courage to immediately implement ideas that you hear today. This is a great photo of the finish of the 2014 Boston Marathon, and I love that the one clear part is that Boston Strong flag. That was a motto that brought them into the marathon. You too are going to need to be strong in order to find inspiration and have courage. Now, you're unlikely to have 1 million fans lining the streets cheering you on, but you are likely to have an inspired and motivated team that is ready to take your lead. You will be a leader worth following. Thank you, and let's head back to the simulcast presentation.